The moral of the story is don't cheap out on your lights, okay? Yes, you're going to be spending over $200 on lights, but they are worth their weight in gold. God, this bike makes so much damn noise. I don't know what the hell that noise is. Oh, it went away. Must have been something stuck in the spokes. I don't know. I definitely got to do some work to this bike. But as cheap as I got it, I'm not complaining. You see, when you got well-lit neighborhood like this, you could see the road. Even if I turned off the light, I could still see the road enough to ride. But when you get out in some areas of my trip home, it gets really, really dark and you need lights. So in this video, I thought that maybe I should probably talk about headlights and taillights and visibility in general. Oh, I hate that phlegm that gets in your throat. Kind of constricts your airways, makes it harder to breathe. People like me who have breathing problems in general, a lot of people think, well, you don't seem very fit because you have really heavy breathing. But then when they ride against me, they see that I'm pretty quick, but they don't understand that I have asthma. So yes, breathing is going to be a little bit more strained for me. I'm amazed that I do as well as I do with my crappy breathing. Right there is the Denver Zoo, and I guess they're making a park system. It looks like that's what they're doing. I'm not quite sure. But this looks like a pretty good place to sit and talk about my lights. So I figured I'd stop and I would explain my lights to you guys. Now, I used to use 3 lights. I used to have one that was clipped right here. These are reflective, as you guys can see. I had one clipped here, and one right here. Now, a lot of people that start riding bicycles, the first thing they want to do is they want to go to Walmart or Target and they buy these cheap bicycle lights that are only like 15 to 20 lumens. Well, those lights are okay if you're close up to somebody or like in a neighborhood maybe, but when you're out on the road and there's a long stretch of road, these lights here, like this light right here is made by Night Rider, and so is this one, and I used to have an identical one that went on the other side, but I lost it. These produce over 100 lumens each. This one 150, this one 100. And I always keep them in the flashing mode. They do have solid modes, like you can turn the modes to different selections, like a slower pulse. I generally like keeping them at a different pulse rate. That way it kind of alerts drivers a little bit better. But they do have solid modes. This one has a really slow pulse mode. It'll kind of get really bright and then really dim very slowly. But these 2 modes that I've got them in are probably my favorite. They're quick flashing. Like if you walk up, I'll kind of walk back here a ways. Not super far. I don't want somebody to kind of walk up on my bike and steal it. But if you walk back quite a ways, you could see those lights, especially if you get right behind them. You could see them from a distance. Probably 150 meters back, you could still see them pretty good. If anything, do not cheap out on your back lights. They will protect you, they will save you at night, because a lot of drivers don't pay attention during the day, let alone at night. So don't cheap out on your backlights. And really, like this light right here was only 150. I'm sorry, it's 150 lumens. It was only like $40, and this one right here was like 30 or 40 bucks. And I know that seems like a lot to some of you guys, but for the most part, that's pretty cheap, and it's worth every penny when you think about protection. Most of the time I ride with one light. This one's a Night Rider 2. It's a 950 lumens. It's really bright. It's got a dim, a little bit brighter, and a bright mode, and then it's got the flashing mode. The flashing mode is probably the best mode when you consider the fact that if you got a well-lit street like this, you should really run it on flashing mode, because the whole idea is to get drivers to see you. You want drivers to get to see you. Okay, that's the whole point of this whole thing. When it's really, really dark out and you cannot see the road, you need to have it on continuous. I swear, you cannot go anywhere and make vlogs without some weirdo stopping over there and I gotta go somewhere else. I don't want some weirdo walking up on me while I'm sitting there talking to you guys. It's like some douchebag will always, it never fails. It's like you stop, you think you're in a secluded place where you can talk and you can vlog, and some douchebag will pull up every single frickin' time. Every time. I don't understand why. Okay, we're gonna stop right here. And yes, I will fix those brakes. It's just not been a priority right at the moment. They stop, they just make a lot of noise. That douchebag just walked, he just ran right beside me. He was kind of going slow, looking over at me. Like, it's so creepy. It's like the weirdos. I mean, just complete weirdos. Oh, what's that guy doing there? He's got a camera pointed at him. You just want to take those type of people and smack the shit out of them. That's just me. I'm like, dude, mind your own business. Go about your business. I'm not bothering you. Stop bothering me. You know, that's the way I feel about it. I normally have a little flashing light that I put on the front as well as this light because it's not bright enough to blind drivers, but it is bright enough to get noticed. That way, if I have to keep my light on continuous, people aren't going to get... you know, people will still notice me. Yeah, you gotta be real careful at night. There's just too many douchebags out, way too many. And they like messing with you. They do. They'll see you just like that one guy. I guess he was gonna try to mess with me until he saw I had a camera and then maybe he decided not to. But I guarantee you that's what he was thinking. He was thinking, I'm gonna mess with this guy. Because people are bored. I mean, you live in Colorado, you got all this adventure at your doorstep, and what do you wanna do? You wanna mess with some guy on the side of the road with his bicycle. I don't get it. All right, I made it back home. I guess I gotta finish the rest of this vlog at home because I can't sit outside with my bicycle and my flashy lights and talk about them without a bunch of people slowing down, you know, looky-loos, trying to slow down and see, what is he doing? I wonder what he's doing. Just like that guy in the truck. He pulls out of the parking lot of the zoo, he starts creeping around, and he goes to the entrance of the zoo, and then he just stops right there and he just waits and he's looking at me, and I'm just like, what the hell does this asshole want, you know? It's like, go about your business, you know? I'm not bothering you, leave me alone. But, and I know some of you might say, well, he's security. No, he's not security. Trust me, he's not security. Because he ended up leaving after a while. All I can think is that he was doing a drug deal of some sort in the parking lot of the zoo, and he probably thought I'm some narc with a camera or something. Ugh, I don't care what you're doing, dude. Do whatever the hell you want. Just leave me the fuck alone, you know? So, he wasn't the only one. I tried to vlog again, and every time I pull out the camera, some person would slowly start creeping by, and it's just like, oh. So I ended up I'm just gonna come home and finish this discussion. Okay, these are my lights. This is the Night Rider that I showed you. That's a Night Rider, and that's a Night Rider. Those are generally the three main ones. I do have a light in motion. This one is 1000 lumens, but as you can see, it's got the GoPro connector on it. I put that on there, and what I use that for is like the helmet. Oh crap! It's hard to. Jesus Christ! I'm dropping them all over the place. Anyway, I use that and connect it to the top of my helmet. Damn, my helmet looks awful beat up. Anyway, I use this as a main headlamp. A lot of times, like when you're going in real dark areas such as like the woods, or if you're doing some really dark trails, it's really nice to be able to turn that on, and where your head points is where the light is. When the light is attached to the handlebars, wherever your handlebars are turned is where the light goes. And that sucks sometimes, because sometimes you're going forward but you want to look over this way, you want to shine a light there, and this helps with that. It's not so good for the road because you end up blinding drivers, because some guy will pull up next to you and you turn your head to look and you're blinding him. So it's not really advisable to use a headlamp on the road. Sometimes I do use a headlamp on the road, but very rarely. And I do have another light. I cannot find it. I don't know what the hell I did with it. It's a little flashy light for my handlebars. Both of these have flash modes on them. So I don't know. I do have a very small flashy light that's really bright that I use on my handlebars, and I can't find it for the life of me. Anyway, guys, the moral of the story is don't cheap out on your lights, okay? That, you know, front headlight, 60, 70 bucks. Both of those front headlights actually were about 60 or 70 bucks. The tail lights were 30 or 40 a piece. I mean, yes, you're going to be spending over $200 on lights, but they are worth their weight in gold. Now, one thing that I did not mention, and I want to mention before I end this video, is keeping yourself visible. Okay, keeping yourself visible is very, very important. That's where one of these reflective vests comes in really handy. I recommend that everybody that rides night, and if you ride any kind of distance at night, I would definitely recommend getting a reflective vest to wear. Because even without the lights, when drivers' headlights hit this, it brightens up really bright. So between that and the lights, I'm pretty well illuminated at night. There are a lot of drivers out there that cannot see. You know, they wear really thick glasses. They have a hard time seeing at night. I had an old lady pull up beside me, and I'm like, what the hell does this bitch want? And she pulls up inside me and she goes, thank you. And I'm like, well, what are you thanking me for? She goes, because you have really bright lights on your bicycle. She came off the interstate on-ramp onto Broadway, and she said that she saw me and my blinking lights all the way at the bottom of the on-ramp. So she was just getting off of the ramp and saw me from way off in a distance because of my lights and my reflective vest. So she says she has a hard time seeing, and she nearly runs over a cyclist every night, and she actually saw me. So this just goes to show you guys, I mean, I know you think that wearing lights is kind of goofy and it's dumb looking, but it does serve a purpose. There are a lot of elderly people out there who cannot see at night or have a hard time seeing at night because of their cataracts or something. So having lights is going to probably save your life. And like I said, don't cheap out on them. Get the best you can get, because they are going to be worth every penny. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here. If you guys have any questions, comments, you want to leave them down in the question and comment section, that's fine with me. Slap a like on the video if you like it, and I guess I will talk to you guys tomorrow on the Daily Commute. Bye-bye.